You know, if you've not been following God, committed to His work, and all of a sudden you just come back and just say, I've reached at the junction of marriage, God, and you expect God to open the window and say, my son, I have placed your wife in this garden. It's not going to come that way.
Where does God come in, even if you have to choose? Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. This is Special Pillars, and today we are bringing you another episode of Special Clinic. And guess what? Of course, you can already see him. I am here with my husband. Yeah, so this is the first time he's actually, well, not the first time, because there was a time that I asked him some questions about marriage, and he gave us his insight. So, but in a formal manner like this is the first time he's appearing on Special Clinic. This is our episode 2, actually, so it's pretty new. But yeah, he is going to be speaking to us, and he's going to be answering some questions which I am going to be asking him. All right. And of course, we have my son is here. He was sleeping, but as soon as we finished setting up, he woke up. But of course, we have to film this before the other gang come back, okay? There are about 3 other people, members of the gang, that are going to come back. So let's just get into it. All right. We are going to be talking about marriage. And yeah, there are so many things we are going to be discussing about marriage in this series, okay? Like I told you before when I introduced the series, those of you who haven't watched the video, please do your best to go and watch the video, all right? So we are going to be talking about marriage today, but we are going to be talking from the point of view of singlehood, okay? So basically, our topic for today is waiting on the Lord for marriage, how to wait, okay? We are going to be asking questions like what to do when you're waiting, how to do, and I'm also going to be asking my husband some questions based on his view as a man, okay? How to find the right partner. How do you know you found the one? All right. And just so many things. There's a lot of things going to come on, but let's just get into it. All right. So, baby, you're very welcome. I'm happy to have you here. Thank you so much for coming. All right. Please introduce yourself to us.
You've done the introduction already.
No. Tell us your name. I didn't mention your name.
Okay. My name is simply Eche.
Okay. Yeah. Whose husband are you?
I'm a husband of only one wife. And she's
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. All right. So, okay, let me just start by asking you. So we are talking about how to know God's will in marriage. I would like to know how can somebody as a man find the right partner? How can you find the right person? And when you find out, how do you even know that the person is the right one for you?
Okay, yeah, I think that should be the first question.
Okay, how did you know who is right for you?
Is there even something that we call a right partner? Maybe I should take this one first.
Okay.
For me, the answer could be yes, and it could be no, or somewhere in between. From biblical perspective, God has designated marriage to be a union of a man and a woman. And this was God's original plan, and He designed it. Now, when we talk about who is the right person, or is there a right person for me, this has been a question that many people, even in the Christendom, have shared different view. And many believe that this is the only choice that God has given us, to choose among all our relationship. Meaning, we don't choose our sisters, we don't choose our brothers, we don't choose who is our father or our mother, we don't choose our uncles, every other relative. So the only person we can choose that is our close relatives, so to say, is our wife. Based on that, I believe it's 2 ways. God can have a plan for you, because for me, the little relationship I have with God, I know He works in different ways. He gives us power to make choice, and therefore He gives us that discernment to go out there and look at and know what is good for you. I can give you a simple example. Like now, you want to go to a restaurant, you want to order food. You just look at the menu. Many of us will not pray and say, God, show me the food I must eat for this lunch at this particular time. You just look at the food and make a good sound judgment and choice of what you think that is good for you. And whether it is right or wrong may be subjective. But there are some scenarios whereby God can still have a plan for you, and He can design something just for a specific purpose for you, and He wants you to marry a particular person. In that case, your choice may not matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you think. Even when you are thinking that, oh, like I'm not compatible with this person. Oh, this person is not up to the. Doesn't really match my profile. Oh, I'm way beyond. I went to university. I'm a PhD holder, and you're telling me to marry a businessman. You know, even if when it looks like it cannot work, for some certain reasons, God can have a specific purpose of wanting you to do anything. Just like God can still want you to eat a particular food at a particular scenario just to prove a point. So there is no hard rule, if you're asking my own opinion, to say there's a perfect match or there's not a perfect match. It's just like if you are a Christian and you have a walk with God, you will know what is God leading at every point in time.
Yeah, because God says He's the one who gives us the who worketh in us, both to will and to do of His good pleasure. That's in Philippians chapter 2. Yeah, so I believe if God lives in you, right, He's definitely going to direct you, even in your choice, when you're making the choice, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so does that mean, since just some people may be asking, well, in that case, does that mean we just go out there and make a choice? I mean, where does God come in, even if you have to choose?
Yeah, so that's why God, because it's just like we wake up and they want to go out, they say, God, guide my steps. You commit your ways into God, and God will be leading you, ordering you. When you come to board a bus, you probably may not ask God, which bus let I enter. Sometimes you can for a specific purpose or specific time, but other times you just get into the bus stop and just hop into the bus and believe that God is the one guiding your step. And if He didn't want you to take that bus, He would have either planned in such a way that you will miss it, or another one will come out before that one, or He let you know expressly that the bus coming, you should not enter it.
Yeah.
So I think God was in a very in a various means of ways.
Yeah.
And we cannot understand it all and say this is the definite. And there's no formula with God. The only thing is that His word and His scriptures are true. So you hold on to it, follow it to the letter, and He will surely guide you to where He wants you to be.
Good. Yeah, babe, I like this thing you just brought up now, because some people in some of our Christian, different denominations, it seems like, yeah, you definitely have to hear God say this is the woman that you're supposed to marry, or this is your husband. It's a must. And if you don't have that kind of conviction, people think that your marriage conviction about, or your choice about a partner, is maybe carnal.
Yeah.
Right? It's not spiritual, because you did not hear God say to you, this is the person you marry. But one thing I always say is that if you already have like a walk with God, that does not begin only when you think you want to get married.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
All the time you were a Christian, you've been walking, you've not been really listening to God, you've not been walking with Him closely. And then all of a sudden, you feel like it is about time for me to get married, right? And all of a sudden, you want to develop a huge, audible hearing of God's voice kind of relationship. I don't think it makes sense, right? Yeah, you should have been familiar. You should have known, well, this is how my walk with God has been developing. Up until the time when it's time to get married, He will let you know, right? And there are various ways that He can do that. It does not necessarily have to be like an audible voice, like some people say that God said, this is my husband, or maybe it's a prophet or something prophesied to you that you should marry that person. Okay, we are actually going to come to that, because that's another thing, right? So I just want to put it out there that as a man, right, you can choose who to get married to. right? And you can. The only thing is that if
And there are God's principles you need to follow.
When choosing.
Yes.
Of course, let's just get into that, right?
Yes.
So please, can you let us know the principles? What are the principles?
I think you mentioned part of it. When you come to marriage, this is not a different relationship you've had with God. If you've not been following God, committed to His work, and all of a sudden you just come back and just say, I've reached at the junction of marriage, God, and you expect God to open the window and say, my son, I have placed your wife in this garden. It's not going to come that way. And one of the things I know is, for most of us, if you are in Christian work, just focus on doing your Christian work. Sometimes I see getting a very good partner as a blessing also from God, because God rewards those who diligently serve Him. So the thing is, if you keep on following God and just be praying, even if you don't pay attention to marriage, God is somehow preparing someone, and at the due time, He will make the path to cross and everything to work so seamlessly the way you don't understand. I can tell you I'm a living example.
Rema.
Yeah. So, coming to the basis of the question you ask, how do we or what to follow? I will tell you, there's no formula to follow still. Just follow God. Have your daily relationship with God. And when the time comes, you don't need heaven to fall to reveal it to you, or for you to know which path that God is leading you towards.
Yeah, but babe, because you talked about principles earlier on, there is just one thing I want to point out for a believer. Should a believer marry a non-believer? So if somebody is a Christian, is it right to marry somebody who is not a Christian?
I mean, there could be some exception where God actually allowed it to happen.
Well, yeah, assuming the person is Hosea.
I mean,
Hosea the prophet.
God told us in the Bible, not be equally yoked with unbelievers. Unequally yoked.
Yes.
So, even in other things we do, or in another relationship with unbelievers, we should still be careful. Otherwise, they can entice you and you can fall. So the thing is, when you think about, okay, let me ask you this question: if you are a believer and your parent or your sister is not a believer, do you throw them away from the house?
No, you don't throw them away. But like you said, babe, we cannot choose who our sisters or who our this one marriage is the only thing that God has given us the opportunity to choose.
So the thing is, the two cannot work together except they agree.
Yeah. So
if my belief is scriptural, I believe in the Bible, and you don't believe in the Bible, then it will fight. We will not have a common ground to work. Because I remember many times I do tell you that the reason why marriages work is because people have common foundation, or common, a kind of conflict resolution thing they believe in. So that's why you see even people that are not Christians and they get married, they be doing all kinds of things and they are still living in the same house. I'm not saying that this is God's plan for marriage, but what I'm saying is two cannot work together except they agree.
Yeah, so if can you will you as a Bible believing Christian marry somebody who does not believe?
No, I wouldn't encourage that.
Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to.
And the same thing I would
You
tell
guys,
somebody.
let me just take him. He never answers any question straightforwardly. He is going to go around and bring out every single scenario.
No, in the same way.
Get used to it, okay?
In the same way, you cannot ask an unbeliever to marry a believer. So even if.
But because this message, this talk is for Christians who are trusting on the Lord to get married. You understand? So let's not expand our audience. Let's not. And for anybody who wants to come to Jesus, okay, but let's not go to. We can deal with that later on in another episode or something. But now we are talking about a child of God. Okay, and it's time for you to choose who to marry, right? Is it right, or is it right, okay, for you to marry somebody who does not believe in the Bible? Since we have this choice, because it's a principle.
Yeah, I think it's a principle. Yeah, I think this one is explicitly no.
No, right?
Yeah, because you really need to understand it this way. Two cannot work together except I agree.
No, that's
so if we don't have the common platform, it's very hard to build on it.
Yeah.
Because I will say the foundation will be faulty. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Faulty foundation. Okay. So yeah, let me just say it, and also to the sisters, okay? If somebody proposes to you and you know they are not Christians, yeah, I don't think it's right for you to go ahead in that relationship. I know sometimes you may be feel like you're running out of time. Okay, age is not on your side, and all the brothers in the fellowship, I don't even know what is wrong with those brothers, right? You are there serving God, doing all of the things, and those brothers, they don't even notice you. Can you imagine? I don't know. Honestly, babe, what is wrong with you, brothers? Why don't you people just, there are so many wonderful...
Ask me what is I married my sister.
Yeah,
so,
but there are so many cases, right?
No, there is not so many cases.
No,
yes. I can speak on the brother side.
They want to get married, they leave the fellowship and go marry someone else, Well, the person, I'm not saying that maybe they also marry a Christian, but there's so many wonderful sisters. I know this, I'm saying it's really something that I would encourage brothers to think about. Okay, if you're a single brother, think about it. Look around you. Are you not seeing all those wonderful brethren, those wonderful sisters, serving the Lord with their heart? Come on. Okay, what I wanted to point out was from, I think, let me see, 2 Corinthians. Yeah, 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14. Of course, it's a very popular thing, you know that. Be not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? What concord hath Christ with Belial? Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel? I feel like it's marrying an unbeliever as a child of God is such an unequal yoke. You are not discriminating. We love them. We are friends with them. We are close with them because that's how we witness. But when marriage is a covenant, okay? When you're about to enter into a life covenant, you don't enter into covenant with somebody who does not believe the same thing you believe in.
Yeah.
Who does not see life the way you see it. It's such a dangerous ground to tread on. Now, there is an example, what my baby was saying before, like the Hosea, the prophet, right? God told him to go and marry a harlot. There was a point to prove. And these cases like this are very exceptional. Do not take it as a standard, okay? So, except in very exceptional cases, God can do it because his ways are really higher than our ways. So, if he deems it so fit, he can instruct somebody to marry an unbeliever. But I believe that there's a principle laid down for us here to follow. But if he does, he is God, well, we have nothing to say about that. But if he doesn't, please, when you want to get married, whether as a woman or as a brother, okay, in the faith, marry from the fold. This is not a discriminatory kind of saying, okay? In case you haven't met Jesus, we don't discriminate. I am just saying that we have a principle and it is in the Bible. We follow the Bible, the teachings of the Word of God, okay? So, yes, when you want to get married, marry from the fold. Marry somebody who believes in Jesus the way you believe. Okay. Now, this level of spirituality, okay, if there is something like that, could be different. We're going to come to that anyway. Yeah, because this baby of mine, I have something to say about him. All right. So, but just take notes. Marriage in God's body, in Jesus' body, that's the body of Christ, should be among people of Christ. Not, okay. All right. So, babe, let's move on. We have talked about everything, basically, we've given a good introduction. When is the right time to propose? Let's say you found the sister that you want to marry, okay? And it just feels right, okay? When is the right time to propose?
I think I will take this back to the sub question you asked before. When you mentioned why is it that the brothers will leave the sisters in the fellowship? Actually, we don't. I think we probably taking our time and trying to get the time, or maybe get the time right to propose. And many a times when the brothers are taking their time to propose, the sisters are very much in a haste. Oh, this person is not proposing, this person is not coming forth. And sometimes, yeah, they misinterpret our delay or taking our time to as not willing. So what I have to say is there's no specific time to propose. As a man, you know the direction where you are going. So it is not right for you even to propose and commit to a sister or commit to your future spouse when you've not had a guideline of what you want to be, where you want to go. This is not I'm not talking about having a heavy pocket.
Yes.
I mean, it should be clear to you where you are driving to. Because if you don't know where you are driving to, and you are picking another passenger, you are picking a passenger that you want to drive along with, I think both of you will be confused. So I think you need to make it certain. And so that when the passenger is coming on board, the passenger knows, this is destination where this person is going to. And there will not be that conflict of interest that, oh, I thought we are going to this side. And when I now boarded your car, you now change direction just because, yeah. I know you can take decision later, but what I'm saying is, at that moment, you should be clear of what is your goals, what is your plan in this life, what do you want to achieve, what impact, what aspect of your life do you actually need that sister you want to marry to do in your life. And once you have this conviction, I can't give you any age. I think at any times, once you feel that these informations are available to you and that you need it now, just hit it through and you can't get it wrong.
Yeah. But I think if somebody, a man that is below 20 years should not propose. I think there's some physical, like mental maturity, right? I know some people get married. I've seen a friend of mine, actually, her husband, when they got married, her husband was 24, she was 23.
We will say age is a number, but I still think that age still determines maturity.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you cannot expect someone like 12 years old or 10 years old to impregnate a woman. So no matter how fast you are or how well you think you've advanced or developed, even more than your age, you still need to grow to some certain point before you can. So yes, I don't want to put a threshold of age to say that I recommend, but definitely, even if someone that is 18, I wonder the schooling now, you probably wouldn't have finished
Studying, right?
study.
Yes.
Yeah. You should know that it shouldn't be minimum of 20 normally. But however, I'm not saying that even 20 is the best. Whenever you feel that you are matured in mind, some people like 20 still act as somebody that's 12 years old. You don't have clear, you don't even know where you are going. So you could take your time and have this clear vision of where you are going to.
Okay, thank you, babe. Just one thing that came to my mind when you were talking about not having a heavy pocket. Having a heavy pocket is not a standard, but can we have any pocket? How pocket? Is it so? You know what I'm trying to ask?
You don't need to have any pockets.
So how are you going to get?
When God brought Eve to Adam, Adam didn't have anything. He didn't have any heavy pocket. God placed him, put him in the garden to walk the garden.
Yes.
And he brought the wife. In fact, Adam didn't even succeed. I may say Adam's case may be exceptional. But what I'm saying in the essence is like, just have that guideline and know you are pursuing something. It's not going to be determined by the size of your pockets.
No, I'm not saying the size of but excuse me, what if the guy does not have any source of income? He's not making any. Some
Okay.
Just like
can the guy feed himself?
What if he can barely feed himself?
But he can eat. And the sister you want to marry can also eat. What makes you think that when both of you come together, that there will be no more food? So the fact is, I know why people want the big pockets, because you want to throw out exceptional wedding, and maybe you can come to that later. But what I'm saying is,
babe, that is another episode. It's too much. We can't handle it.
So what is important is, you know somebody that can help you. That's why the Bible said this is a helpmate. Let me tell you, you can chase 1,000 only you, but when you have that person who is helping you, you can chase 10,000. There are places you couldn't go alone, but when you have her by your side, you can walk into that place and you'll be honored and be given even an executive seat just because you have her by your side. So for me is, if you are waiting when you acquire some level, then the next question would be, what should you have? I know some people will say, have a house over you or have something. Yes, but you're not living in the bush. Even if it is one room, of course, you are not going to meet a lady and go and take the lady on inside the bush or under the tree. There must be a house. How well they go or how good the house is furnished could be secondary. You have a place you put your head down and you sleep. The reason why we're saying this is, when you struggle alone too much, you will not appreciate the impact your spouse can do to you.
Yes.
When they come into your life.
Yeah.
Because you've you've lived all your life struggling it alone, trying to make it alone before you can bring her in.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, babe. So, well, before, I'm taking you back, we were talking about how to know God's will. Now, even though we said sometimes you choose, God is with you. If it's not He's going to let you know if that's not the person for you, or if he's against the choice you were about to make, right? But I also want to point out that there are people who also know that through certain things, God has confirmed that this person is their partner. And so, which brings me, okay, to our story, right? To our story. Because sometimes it seems like God always only tells the guy. But sometimes God can also tell the lady.
And you made it hard for me.
How did I make it hard for you?
Well,
anyway, see, now the thing is, I met my husband, okay, in a campus fellowship. Okay, we attended the same university and we belonged to the same campus fellowship. It was a Christian fellowship, and so when I was in year 3, he was in year 4 then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just knew he was my friend. Though we were friends. We had a group, like a group of certain friends that we were really close with, and I was the mama, the sisters coordinator then in the fellowship. But somehow I knew that he was going to be my husband, and this thing bothered me so much, okay, because he just wouldn't get out of my head, right? And some point I even deleted his number from my phone, because I thought, okay, this thing, I don't want this thing to spiral into lust. Okay, how can this be bothering me? I just knew that in my heart God told me that Eche was going to marry me. Now the thing is, whenever we would gather in the fellowship, okay, and there's a some kind of informal discussion about who to marry, marrying, he would be like, I will never marry from this fellowship. I will never marry from this fellowship. And each time he said that, my heart would skip. I'm like, am I the one telling these things to myself? Why does he keep saying that he would never marry from this fellowship? In fact, the thing that made me decide, you know what, forget it, was one day when we were in our final year group, he said that even if it worked for everybody in this group, that for him, he was never ever going to marry from this fellowship. Oh my goodness. I said, you know what? Let's just forget it. That's it. And so I canceled him in my heart. I believe that maybe somehow I was the person telling myself those things. And you know the thing? God never left me alone, because he kept bothering me. There was one prayer I prayed. And there's how I relate with God. And before I got married, I had attended a lot of marriage seminars, so many, countless of them, because it's something that we usually organize in our fellowship, in the churches, and all of that. And there is this kind of trend among the speakers that whenever, especially the female speakers, okay, I'm not judging, it's just something that I observed then. They would always say that the person God revealed to them, or that came to marry them, which was God, which actually became their husband, right, was not the person. They didn't like him. There was nothing about the guy to be liked. It was almost like it was a standard that you wouldn't like this guy first, right? And then after some time, God will now help you develop feelings of love. That could be the case. But for me, after hearing seminar after seminar regarding that, I prayed my single prayer, just by myself. I told God, anybody that is going to marry me, I want to love the person from the beginning. I don't want that. That's how I do my things, honestly. And sometimes I just pray simply like that, trusting that God knows my heart and He just answers me that way. So the thing was that all the brothers that came to marry me, I loved all of them. I liked all of them. They were very wonderful people. So it became a very different, difficult thing. But the thing is, when I gave up on him after he kept saying those things, I just said, you know what? I'm also very precious. If this guy doesn't want to marry from this fellowship, so be it. I forgot about him. And so there were two other brothers that came also that I accepted. The first one I accepted, it didn't work. After a few months, we had to call off the relationship. And then the second person that came, wonderful. These people are all very wonderful brothers, right? Then this second one was they calling only lasted for 1 month. He proposed to me and I didn't even pray. I didn't think about it. I just said yes. Okay. And then I was serving then, doing my youth service in Kwara State. There's something, those of you who are not from Nigeria, there's something we call youth service. So when you finish from the university, it's like what happens in South Korea. They usually have like mandatory military, is he enrollment or something for 2 years? But for us, it's 1 year. You can teach in a state that is far away from where you were born or from where you schooled. So I went for that in Kwara State. And then we attended this program organized by EFAC. Even in that 1 month relationship, 1 to 2 months relationship, I was really very perturbed. I knew that this was not God's plan. But because this guy said he was not going to marry anybody from the fellowship, I forgot about him and I really wanted, on my own to make something work. So that day, after the seminar they held, it was a seminar for married and single sisters. So during the prayer time, the elderly women were told to pray for us. And they told all the single ladies to kneel down. And so we all knelt down. And I would remember just crying and crying. I don't know, because I'd never ever wanted, I know God's purpose for my life. And I did not want to miss it in marriage. There and then, as they were praying for us, they all gathered around us. Everybody, people around us, they were, if you could lay hand on somebody, lay hand and pray for the person. I just heard this voice. He said, did you consult me before accepting that proposal? Oh, I started crying the whole. And so I got back home. I immediately texted that brother. I said, sorry, I did not ask God anything before accepting your proposal. I'm sorry, let's just cut it off. And so that was the end of that relationship. As soon as I got rid of that relationship, this brother here, okay, a few months, it's not, was it up in 1 month? I cut it off in May, in June. He called me on phone and proposed to me on phone. He called me on phone and proposed to me. Do you know what he said? He said, yeah, do you still think we can still get married? I said, what kind of question is this? Is this even a proposal? But I already knew. So
is there a particular way to make proposal?
Come on. Flower, no. Everything with you being the love of
no. I know some people, yes, this is what worked was of white of work.
We are just unique like that.
Yeah. But I think every person, for me, myself, I always want to have my own things done in a unique way. Anyway. So I'm not going to follow a norm. That's what I want to do my own.
We don't follow norm in this marriage.
I try to devise my own unique way, understand myself and my uniqueness and exploit it. That is me. But coming to some of the things you said, I have to respond because it seems this is one-sided. When some people hear or maybe listen and thinks that, oh, I said I can't marry from SUCF.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. The intention is not really that I don't want to marry from SUCF or that my sisters.
SUCF, that's the name of our fellowship.
Yeah. That was not my intention. My intention is I have a work to do and I want to focus on the work I'm doing. It's very easy for brothers, when you are doing the work and you are committed and you see good sisters, and instead of thinking and praying for the works you are doing, you start thinking of who to marry, who to bring home. You start sampling. So I wanted to avoid this kind of scenario at all costs. So I was like shut down everything. I mean, I'm not telling you to do the same with me, but for me was shut down anything that would be distraction for you.
Yeah.
Deliver this work that God have handed you to do, and deliver it and do it to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
Let this work, let at the end of this work, you be found wanting. So I don't want anything, somebody to say, oh, I'm looking at this sister with one eye, I'm looking at this one with two eyes, or I have this, I don't have this. So because of that, I made sure that I didn't commit or give any sign of commitment to anybody anywhere. So I don't want to create that because I've seen it. It does happen, whereby you are too close to some sisters, and before you know what is happening, they will tell you that, oh, they thought you've already proposed.
Yeah.
Whereas there was never a time you opened your mouth to say propose, but they are now taking that because you are too familiar to them, you've already too close, you both of you share the same, and therefore, so I try to make it explicitly, I'm not committed to anyone. Not because they are not wonderful. Of course, they are wonderful. In fact, when I had some meetings with other people out of the folk, so okay, maybe not a terrible experience, but it's not a good experience to say. So that's why I say two cannot work together except to agree. Make sure you have a common denominator. That will be the basis of whether it is your project you are working on, conflict resolution, raising up kids, in everything, there will be a common denominator.
Yeah, that's the same thing you said about focusing on what you are doing, right? All the while I knew that he was going to be the one that marries me, okay? I never gave him the list. He never knew. In fact, it was after I accepted his proposal that I started telling him the whole story. And he was like, what?
Yeah.
How come I never? I said, yes, because that's...
Because you made it difficult.
Yeah, all of the... Remember I told you I was the sister's coordinator. The way I treated him, that was exactly the same way I treated all the brothers. So you would never know that there was something going on in my heart. And I'm saying this to sisters, right? You are to be found. Think of yourself and how God sees you. You don't need to beg somebody to marry you. Baby, excuse me, please. I know you're going to say something about this, but please wait. But why I'm saying it, because it also gives you a sense of dignity, right? While you are doing God's work, just focus, right? Continue serving Him. Your reward is coming, okay? It is coming. And when He comes, it's going to come so beautifully, right? You do not need to... I see so many people, and I'm asking, why are you putting yourself through this hurt in undefined relationship? You don't even know whether you are dating or courting or planning for marriage. This guy has said everything except, will you marry me? He would be like, my mom will like you. I would like to introduce you to my siblings. He has not even proposed to you. And when something comes up in the future, you'll be like, did I say I will marry you? So think about who you are in Christ, who you are, and allow yourself to be found. The Bible says, I think in, babe, I know you could say something, but give me some time, please. House and wealth are inherited from fathers, but a prudent wife is from the Lord. There's also another one in Proverbs 18:22, very popular. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. I know that my husband is very unique, so he thinks that even sometimes a girl can also say, I like you, right? Can we get married? I don't know, but
no, not that. But even if you, I'm not suggesting ladies should go and propose to men.
Okay.
I'm not suggesting that.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is, if you're a lady and you think you have a very close relationship with a guy, and you like the guy, but the guy is not coming forth, but the whole body language is suggesting that both of you could marry. If it comes to some extent that is very cloudy to you, or you are not cleared,
you can ask
for clarification.
Yes.
You can say, this relationship we are, where is it taking us to?
Yeah.
What do you want in this relationship? Please define it. Because I don't want a situation whereby down the line, like 2 years is gone, 3 years is gone, 4 years is gone, and the lady is working so hard to waiting for you, and you just broke the card and say, oh, I'm marrying another person. No, it's not good. For the lady, save yourself. If you think this is what you want, and it's not going that, and it's not coming forth, seek clarification.
Yes.
I'm not saying go and propose, but you can ask the person, this thing, what is it called? What is the name? Yes, can you define this relationship? Is it courting? Is it friendship? Is it this? So that you can free up yourself. Yes. And also be committed to any other person.
Yeah, and some people need to shift from your line of sight so that the good thing can come. Honestly, good brothers, wonderful brethren, there's nothing wrong with them. Good friends, there's nothing wrong with them. But they may not be the best of spouse.
Yes.
I think you said this thing to me,
Yes.
right? Best of friends may not be the best of spouse. In some cases, they are. Like in my case, we were very good friends and it worked for us. But it is not always the case. So if it's not defined, kindly ask them to define it. What is this? Where are we headed? Okay? And if it is not headed and you know that you would like to marry this person, but apparently he's not interested, please let him go. Free yourself, serve the Lord. Your reward.
I mean, you're not married, and the brother says, "Oh, you open a joint account."
Yeah,
you do this, some of these things. So you'll be like, where is he going to? We are singles, we are independent people, we are just, and it's not proposed, you've not, like, there was no commitment, and you are opening a joint account for what?
No, actually he proposed, but it was just 1 month into it and he asked for us to open a joint account.
Yeah, so yeah. I think you
but I didn't go ahead with
clarification if in doubt. Yeah.
Yes.
Especially for the ladies.
And I think we need to define the meaning of close, because another thing I want to say before we end, how to wait. Okay, so if you have proposed to somebody and you've started working towards marriage, I feel like it's very important to cut the work short in righteousness, right? To make it short. Long ago, we were engaged for long, but he was here in Hong Kong studying, right? At the beginning, I was in Kwara, he was in Port Harcourt, and then he came over to Hong Kong for 1 year master's degree, and I was in Nigeria doing my own master's degree at UNIZIK, right? So it is good to also, if you are able to, okay, there's no reason to prolong it. You know, sometimes we wait to get everything ready so that the wedding can look like it.
Yeah.
But the wedding does not look like it. I'd rather you plan for the marriage, right? The home, actually. Talk about your finances, talk about how you want to, what do you want to achieve, how do you want to raise your children, when do you want to start having children, stuff like that. Okay, don't be wasting time planning for wedding and trying to save up all of your life savings so you can host a big wedding. Just whatever you can afford, do it. If you have the money to host a societal wedding, there's no problem, nothing against it. Call us, we are going to come and eat your food. But if you don't have money, do not borrow. Do not put yourself through temptations.
For because you have money doesn't allow you to even, you can even have money and still decide not to come.
Yeah, because decency and moderation is also a quality of a Christian life. The Bible says, let your moderation be known to all men, the Lord is at hand. All right, so please, I'd rather you plan for the home, plan for your future, right? And it doesn't take that much. You can do this, you can totally do it, as long as God is with you. All right, and of course, there's another place in Hebrews, I think it says, marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. For God will judge the sexually immoral and adulterous. Okay, so sex should be for marriage, which is why I say it's better to bring it closer. Okay, because once you love somebody, you love the person, you want the person to hold you, you want to be around the person all the time. Now, the devil will come with all of his temptations, but please, try to narrow it down. Don't make the gap too long. Sex is God. I built it to be enjoyed within the confines of marriage. Nothing outside of that. So if you're a Christian and the body they push you, they draw you and all of that, say no. Okay, this is for, let's leave it for when we get married. You can do all those things, and we have an expression in our language that says yeah, it means very soon. Let me just give the literal translation. A dead person will still be very full of sleep. Like, you will get filled with sleep because you will sleep and sleep and you not wake up. So when you get married, you are going to do all of those things, and sometimes you are not going to want to do it. Okay? So, yeah. So if you have hope, it's not going to kill you. If you are hungry and you know that somebody is going to is on the way buying food coming for you. You are going to wait for that beautiful food and settle down and eat it in air conditioned atmosphere. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? So sex is for marriage. Get married, and you can make all the love you want. All right. So
Become biscuits.
yeah. Babe, do you have any other advice before we summarize? Because we need to pick our kids from the school bus.
I think this is just maybe like we did just like spot everywhere.
Yeah, we are going to go
Some of these
so
things
many
are
episodes coming up.
we did like detailed discussion, sharing of life experience. Even just wedding on its own is a different entity. But the only thing I need to tell you is just hold on to God first. He guides your steps. See, even if when you didn't pray specifically for marriage and you are serving God, at the right time, He will order your step, place you in a way in where He will connect you to the person that will be your soulmate, that will meet that your need, that will complement that your effort and take you to the perfect God's plan for your life.
Yes. Thank you very much, Vivo. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to have more and more of these coming up, okay, where we can actually stay, and talk in detail about these things. Of course, hopefully my husband will be off so that he can join me. I love his insight so much. We have a lot, even on the spirituality thing, okay, level of spirituality. What if he's more spiritual than you, or what if she is more spiritual than you? We are going to be talking about all of those. So don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share this on your social media page or status, WhatsApp status, whatever. Okay, and God bless you so much, and I'm cheering for you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you, babe.
Pick up the kids. Yeah.